We good?
One moment. We are live.
Very good. I want to call the Board of Assessors meeting for December, the regular meeting for December the 14th, 2020 at 4 o'clock. And Ms. Coleman, will you call the roll? Ms. Coleman?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, sir. Mr. O'Neill,
Here.
Miss Burney,
Here.
Mr. Mills,
Here.
Mr. Middleton, Mr. Scott.
Middleton here. I had to unmute it.
Yes, sir. I can see you now.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Scott,
Here.
Miss Renee Dinatznak,
Here.
and Mr. Simpkins,
Here.
and Mr. Lee, of course. All are present.
Very good. Well, this is the ninth time we've done this in the virtual environment, and we seem to be able to function accordingly and to the wishes of everybody to stay safe from the coronavirus. By us using Zoom US, board members and staff will conduct the business of the day as we would under normal conditions, even though they're not normal. For the public and media access, this meeting is also being live streamed through YouTube. And for the public, if they want to go back and view previous meetings, they can do that by going to www.augustarichmondtaxassessor.com. With that said, need a motion on the agenda. And I have a change on the agenda also.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. The change will move the Personnel Review Committee, Mr. O'Neill's committee, up to the next item of business. The reason is we'll be talking about the DOR certification and staff adjustments, and the commissioners want it by 5 o'clock. So we'll just knock it out unless there's an objection. Hearing none, then.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, there's
Yeah.
a processing issue once the board acts for a deadline to have RPAs up to the Human Resources Department by 5 o'clock today.
Okay. Well, then I will, we got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by approving the agenda with these change, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Ayes have it. Okay. Chief.
Mr. Height, if you would give me shared files, please. All the board members were issued a workup recommendation to have information in advance. Ms. Barney, thank you for what obviously is a very valid question to go back and give some clarity regarding the DOR developments. If there's some general questions, perhaps, Mr. Chairman, I should go ahead and try to address those on the front end.
Okay.
That is the information that has my update at the bottom that was sent out to all the board members. There are some footnotes there that give you some indication of some of these matters. At the end of the day, what you're looking at is the actual 39 authorized personnel course, the chief appraiser is not included in DORs. And to implement, this is the difference between those two figures, which is DOR certification. This is the amount that was actually approved. Therefore, between this amount that carries the 39 authorization and what was approved, that is the funding balance left in salary. Therefore, that's where the 23,765 falls short. Even though this document appears to be the Board of Assessors by the Chief Appraiser, is really the markup document of the Finance Department regarding the 2021 budget as of that date, September 10. What I'd like to just for clarity on the numbers, these are some markups that we did and submitted back upstairs where they were implementing some numbers that we couldn't figure out, but we got to clear it up. Most important with that file is the reference of what was approved at 2046760. Not approved, excuse me. That was in the original budget files of the Finance Department. The bigger numbers up here just simply indicate what those figures are with benefits. At the end of the day, this is how they profiled everything upstairs, and we highlighted some issues relative to some of their commentary. We actually gave up a full-time position back in 2020 for the maintaining of the DOR certification program. We didn't have 40 employees no more. We were down to 39, which is the same number for 21. This reference here on an explanation of variance, abolish one clerical position in 2020 to cover $50,000 added certification pay. We pointed out that was not added. That was to maintain the $75,000 level. If you add this figure, projected salaries, and you add what they were carrying as open positions, you will come back to that 1,971,7060 in round numbers. So technically, they totally defunded the itemized issues of salary, which was no longer to be carried as a program. What we are ultimately asking for is for the board's authorization. We went back and looked at all kind of factors. These are my operational positions as of 12/03, estimating an additional 20% reduction. We're projecting year-end operational to be a surplus of 78,379. That figure shows up here. We took actual salaries to date through that pay period, made adjustments for 2 additional pay periods to come about. That's the impact per pay period on salaries. From that, deducted the remaining balance that's there for projected salary savings of over $185,490. That's due to delayed hirings. That's due to the reorg, in which in the reorg, we actually reduced salary in 2021 by that $51,229 figure. The answer we're getting as of Wednesday last week in a meeting with the budget director, Mr. Shreya, and our liaison, who was quiet, was that because of COVID, they had to cut back. Well, because of COVID, they defunded us, but I'm not here to fight against any department, but they funded an additional $2 million over to the sheriff's office. And I stopped looking after that one. What I would like to ask of the board, one is for approval of the recommendations that have been submitted to the Personnel Committee and to the full board for your actions. And with that, we can then give notice to the governing body that we wish to file an amended budget back before the governing body to recapture the 23,000+. And on that note, Mr. Chairman, unless there are some specific questions, I'd like to put that in the form of consideration for a motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
Juanita Burney. Based on my listening combined, and I did read what you sent, Mr. Ross, there's recertification, which is one issue, and then there's reorg, which is one issue. I would like to request if we could vote on those separately, please.
I'm not sure, Ms. Barney, the reorg has been voted on and acted upon. In fact, the last investigation petition by Commissioner Hassan, my understanding, was pulled from the agenda. I believe you were to speak on that day, and that was canceled. Since then, that item was put back on the agenda by Commissioner Williams for an investigation. I was contacted by the general counsel relative to his review. My general understanding is he spoke with the chairman of the Personnel Review Committee. He's spoken with the HR director and spoken with, at that time, the interim administrator, all whom have signed off that we follow all the proper procedures. As to a written result of the investigation, I have not seen one. I was informed. Unless the matter is petitioned again, they report it back. And my understanding, nothing else has come out of the reorg. I'm a bit confused.
Well, there doesn't need to be any confusion, Mr. Ross.
I'm confused, Ms. Burney. I'm confused, Ms. Burney, when I act according to the actions of the Board of Assessors, only to find myself being addressed by political wings of the government regarding the action after that fact. I'm a bit confused.
We're taking a vote today. There's no need for you to be confused. I don't have anybody that can tell me how I need to vote today.
I'm not trying to tell you how to vote, Ms.
The
Burney.
reason that I asked for it to be separated is because the recertifications I have no problem with, but it is well known that I have had a problem with the reorg, and I am personally not going to vote for the reorg portion of it.
That's not my call, Ms. Burney. I've just simply responded to your concerns.
No, you weren't responding to a concern. You're just trying to tell me you don't understand, but you do understand. And you understand that I don't have to be told how I'm going to vote today. So I made a request. The chairman just needs to respond to it as to whether it's going to be entertained or not.
Well, I'm confused also. The motion will acknowledge the DOR certification and staff adjustments for the full board consideration. I don't
Correct.
see, where is there something on the reorg?
Financially, aren't we asking for support for two things, recertification as well as reorg?
That's not true, Ms. Burney.
No.
Okay.
We're
Then
only
I
asking,
stand-
We're only asking for the 23,766 considerations on the shortfall calculation for DOR certification today.
Okay, then I stand corrected.
Very good. Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, and we're voting on the certification adjustments. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now let me try to get back to the beginning.
On behalf of the staff, I'd like to personally thank each of you for the support of the DOR certification again. And trust me, it is those other 38 employees who are so valuable to us achieving the objectives of an annual digest submission at the levels that we've attained. As to why we keep finding ourselves in this position on an annual basis, after the budget presentations are done with finance, only to find out later that they act without even calling us back up to even tell us they got an issue and can we find a resolve. They just act. So again, I really appreciate your support of the staff for the 2021 DOR certifications. And Mr. Chairman and board members, we will engage that process now that we have your affirmative immediately to deal with the implementation process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the regular meeting minutes from November the 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any changes? Well, and all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes nay. Ayes have it. Okay, well, we looking at the board's committee reports, specialized assessment and obsolescence. Chairman Simpkins, do you have anything for us?
We did not have a meeting, Mr. Chairman. I think Mr. Rantry is working on some stuff that we'll probably take up next year. But as far as a meeting, we did not have one, and there's nothing to be discussed today,
That's correct.
unless he has something.
Okay, well, thanks, Brian. Personnel Review Committee, we kind of jumped ahead on that. You have anything else you want to add, Mr. O'Neill?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman. No further information on that.
Very good. I think you have the best office background of all of us.
I like yours too.
Outside. Okay, we're going to be focusing on taking action on pending 2020 appeal matters, consider the 2021 pre-bill mobile home digest, and receive the office operational updates. The deadline for filing the 2020 appeals this year ended with the state extension that is out to August 27th. Let me make sure on both of these things I'm still doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Included minutes. Okay, pre-bill mobile homes.
Ms. Vujas, please.
Good afternoon. On our 2021 Mobile Home Digest, we have a difference in count of up 72 mobile home accounts.
Excuse me, Ms.
And up-
Vujas. Mr. Hyatt, would you post that out of the file, please?
It should be right behind our BOA staff status report, Keldrick. I think it was also in the packet right right behind our status report.
Yes, it was, and still is.
While he's bringing that up,
Terry, if you have it up on your computer, you can share your screen as well.
I do not, but I can.
thank you very much.
There you go, Terry.
Oh, thanks. So, like I was saying, we have 72 more mobile home accounts. We are up $3,876,200. We did have a couple of parks that are taking out some old mobile homes and replacing them with new mobile homes. That would be Emery Hills and Butler Creek. We had a version update that we had to do last Tuesday. It fixed some export issues, and those have all been taken care of. And then the taxpayers that qualify for homestead, they have until April 1 of 2021 to file. So we could lose some accounts that way. And also permanent location certificates where they make the mobile home permanent to the land. They can file canceled titles through December 31st of 2020. So if there are any question on that, that's just a summary of our mobile home digest.
Mr. Chairman, we would like to petition for the board's consideration to adopt the mobile home pre-bill digest for 2021 as submitted.
So
Okay,
moved.
got a motion, need a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Ayes have it. There you go, Chief.
Thank you very much, sir, board members. This is obviously one of 3 digest parts that starts the process for 2021. This will be followed by real property to include commercial, industrial, residential, ag properties. We should get that to you. Mr. Chairman, that's going to either be sometime in April or early May, depending on the challenges to push projects through. And then the final piece, in which we're trying to reposition personal property that you normally would get in your July meeting for a deadline of July 15th for the entire digest to go to the commissioner. We're trying to put in place mechanism that hopefully will push personal property closer to real. If it's not achieved in 2021, hopefully by 2022, those 2 components will come to you at the same time. But this
Okay.
is the start of 2021.
Very good. Okay, guess we move on to staff recommendations. Ms. W.
All right, we
Personal
had
property?
one, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say business and personal property.
Okay. We had one ownership that we corrected on a parcel on 3540 Wheeler Road. Then as far as your personal property related issues, the majority of them were staff prepared accounts. Still trying to get these completed. Then on some of the accounts where we had staff prepared them, they have filed an actual return. So you'll see some decreases in those values if we overstated on our staff return. There was one account that it was called Rise and Shine. You'll see that first one on page 5 of 11. Brian, is there any way you can put that up? Brian,
Is that
Yes.
the lawn service?
can you put up page 5 of 11 if you don't mind? Do you have that?
Mr. Hyde can get that done.
Sorry, I was pulling it up right now. Give me just a second.
Okay,
I was
thank you.
muted.
And it would be under returns, rise and shine. I think that's the exception to the prior, but the same thing with the regular 2020. The names of the businesses are so similar, we added some value to the wrong account. So we're correcting it on this board meeting for 2020 and I believe also 2019. So it was just something that looked odd. So I want to just bring that to your attention. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Mr. W, Bill Mills, I have one.
Okay.
I noticed that for staff prepared return, is that
Yes, sir.
because initially we didn't have the appropriate information for the owner to make a return?
That we mailed the owner's returns in the beginning of 2020 and they had failed to file a return.
Okay,
So we wait till all the returns come in, and if we don't have a return from them, we actually go out to the business location and try to get them to file a return. And then if they don't, then we staff prepare
so we
based on
don't
similar
use,
businesses.
so we don't use previous information if we have it on that entity.
If we had information, we would use that in the beginning, but staff prepare, we didn't have anything from the owner of that business. So we have to look at like businesses to try to get a value. They're sent
Okay,
a notice,
thanks.
and there are some that filed returns.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. W.
Welcome.
Brian, did you have anything to add?
The only piece I'll add today, sir, is concerning audits, just to update the board on audits.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen here. This is the kind of audit log where they pull audits. You'll see auditors' initials, et cetera, the classes that which was approved in the audit policy last May by the Board of Assessors. We have wrapped up a few audits recently. In fact, I'm being told by the audit staff there will be another one that will actually have to come to the board for approval in January. We're hoping that there was one final piece of information we had to reach out to the taxpayers for. So we're reaching out, making that contact and final request of information, and we think they will actually move from a taxable entity to a not taxable entity based upon value. So they will actually receive a refund for 2020. I do want to point out the audit statistics. This is something that was recently updated by Keldrick for us. This was the program that was set up and displayed to the board when the new audit policy was created and approved. This statistics to me is very enlightening because you have class 1, which is your under 7,500 and under businesses, which by code section are not taxable. You can see that the class 1 makes up 48+% of all business personal property accounts. Yet the percentage of value of those is 0.26%. And then vice versa, class 6, you have 0.39% because it's only 24 owners. Yet that makes up 54% of your overall value because those are your very large businesses and entities. But audits are being conducted. I believe the one I can speak very clearly about today was the bowling alley here in Augusta was audited. we ended up accepting a no change valuation on that audit as they just did a remodel. And the audit was for years prior to that remodel. It was very hard to verify what was there since it's no longer there. And we did verify that what they are reporting now is what is at site and proper.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for audits. I'll wait until we get to commercial and I can update some more.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna run down the agenda. Nancy, residential.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to update you on that residential is working on neighborhood reviews, but more our main focus right now is on building permits, and even further right now they're focusing on new construction. And that's where we're at, trying to get all the building permits completed and working hand in hand to get the neighborhood reviews done as well. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to entertain them.
Any questions? You did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, moving down to commercial and audits. Brian, you're back up.
All right, just gonna share my screen again to show y'all a couple things going on in commercial. The revaluation use classes that were under consideration for revaluation this year, we mailed the letters out to those owners this week. These counts that you're seeing were the amount of letters that were mailed out, which is the count of owners, not the count of parcels. There are some of those owners, especially in the warehouse category and even car washes, who own multiple parcels of car washes or warehouses, etc. But we mailed one letter to each ownership to notify them of any use types they may have that may be under consideration for revaluation this year. Let me just show you an example. I think I opened the bank letter, but we updated that date. I believe we mailed them December 4th, but it just says basically to all bank owners and or management groups, and lets them know that we're considering revaluation. They'll receive a notice approximately May, and then appraisal team members could come by the property. But a lot of it is just information gathering for us, getting contact information for the owners and or management, as well as, how they're utilizing the property. Is it owner occupied? Is it leased, vacant, etc.? And we will take that information and move forward in January and February for revaluation projects.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I may add that those codes were pulled from your Camel system. And as we had anticipated, because of fingerprints of the past, we discovered that you have a host of downtown warehouses that we use to suppress valuations on the cost schedules. That will allow us to further clean up the entire digest file. This one is a major one that we knew was brewing out there. We've had some calls to say, I don't have a warehouse. Thank you for letting us know that too.
Okay. And GIS, Mr. Roundtree.
Scott is out, and there are no major updates from GIS or Project Central right now.
Okay. Office status report, Chief.
Again, good afternoon, board members.
Hello.
Do you see my screen, sir?
I see you.
Hello.
I'm trying to see, am I sharing the right screen? Can you see me now?
Yes, I see a screen with a bunch
With
of dates.
Do not let that alarm you. I'm gonna be as brief as I can regarding it. Obviously, the major factor. Just want to give you a note that the reorg that has gone through the whole process has been shared with the staff in an email as to reference to proper supervisory responsibilities and the reporting chain for operations. We have also recently updated and provided to the staff with the reorg, the procedures for notification of lead requests and notifications of any other factors following the reorg. Brian referenced the business personal property return matters. Mr. Chairman, it's in your
Packet.
it's in your package. Most of this that you're seeing on the first 2 pages of statutory matters, what should be brought to the board's attention is the matter of procedure for office implementation. Because it's an update, Mr. Chairman, we would appreciate action at this time to approve the updated business personal property return period process. What this is going to allow is a better tracking mechanism for being able to tell the board specifically the operational position within the business personal property operations. You already get those in-depth details on residential, commercial, and in the specialized assessment arena.
Right. Okay, well, we'll entertain a motion. Hello?
So moved.
And a
Second.
second? Okay, got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed
Aye.
is nay. Very good.
Mr. Chairman, we'll be needing your signature on that. I'm going to bypass the ABOs. Those are schedules that Tara will bring back with a host of schedules for personal property at your January meeting. Regarding United Way, I'm pleased to report that the staff is 100% participants as I speak. Thank you very much, staff members, for your support of the United Way CSRA 2020 campaign. Mr. Chairman, board members, staff contributions are $1,727. Just a notation that there's a coat drive going on, which we're supporting as well. Regarding the reorg, we've made movements for all personnel to move into respective new locations for workflow issues. We've even updated signage to reflect deputy chiefs for both suite locations down the hall from me. Tomorrow, we will be doing interviews to fill the one auditor slot that came out of the reorg. We got 4 candidates. One is in-house. Once we complete that, Mr. Chairman, the office will be at full authorization strength. Just as information, This is the information that's coming in on an annual basis that's regarding the homestead exemption relative to disabled veterans. That's a floating number that's issued annually by the Department of Revenue. Again, your insight as to how much valuations they can be exempt from in taxation process. That is this information to you. Just as well, we received the information on sale tax implementations into the CAMEL system. This is the profile that is used when you look at your tax bill and you see sales tax credits. This is the profile that creates that on the tax bill. This is our annual notice on qualified timberland properties. If you wish to have any commentaries with the Department of Revenue, please let me know. I'll be more than glad to forward this out to you, that you may submit commentaries. In preparation for modeling for valuation purposes, we just recently made a move with TREP loan to minimize increases for a new contract that'll start a year from now, to get no increases in it, to add on at a discounted rate also their profile for creating models based on financial data to further assist the commercial property in these mass appraisal efforts, which would marginalize a lot of staff time on spreadsheets that we're currently doing. That information that has been approved, funding has been transferred to make that year-end payment. That is just a reference. The budget transfer request for that process was provided. It does not add any increase to our operational costs. The flight from pictometry is on go. I won't get into all those details, but that's going to provide the board and the staff with opportunity. One, is change finder, which will compare it to a prior flight. And we are positioning ourselves to try to get sketch validation done as well off this flight data, but that's a challenge that's pending. There is enough funding left over to cover both of the sketch validation, and with prices coming down, by the time we can get it in place, we may have enough funding already. We are officially moving forward on the cell tower audit program. Everything is now finalized and over at the legal department with a deadline that we should hear something this week, in which the contract would be consummated and sent back out to the winning vendor for executing, for the purpose of getting on the agenda with a deadline of December 21st for the commission, that this contract can get approval at that time, and we'll be moving on your cell tower project. Because we had no idea it was going to take 5 to 6 months to get through a procurement process, we've also requested the rollover of funding for the cell tower project. And this is the response coming from the finance director. As the commission, we have to approve the contract, simply add the funding source action in the agenda item. The wording that will be carryover capital outlay funding from 2020. That was a 2-year funding issue, 2020 and 2021. Regarding your conversion, For Tyler Industries, Mr. Chairman, everything is on green light. In fact, the feedback, not surprising to me, because of the level of staff development we have for this project. I'm basically getting accolades back from Tyler regarding our Project Central as well as IT Augusta, and us providing them all the parts as we move for development. Behind the scenes, this is their status report. Since this status report came out, we will also be on a bi-weekly status report update. These are the factors behind the scene that are being built on your new system as we speak. It is basically data mapping to assure a successful transfer. I just wanted to give a reminder. There are some challenges that are coming. The hotel motel sector issue for 2021. We have positioned ourselves to also include reviewing and updating on the impact of motel hotels. Even though we didn't talk about it during the commercial report, we anticipate that there will be some lost valuation that was gained in the prior two digesters on motel hotels. There's early indicators that in Georgia, they anticipate that for 2022, hotels will be back. Regarding our fuel usage, even though we're looking at quite a few bit more properties every year, we used to average somewhere around 8 to 11,000. Now we're averaging with all these reval works on average of 25 to 28,000 parcels a year. Right now, this time last year, we were at 76% of the budget. We ended only using 84% last year. This time this year, we're only at 66%, with a notation that during May, there was no gasoline usage, just off because of COVID. Therefore, that budget is consistent with the prior years at this point in time. We anticipate that that budget amount for reviewing properties is still proper. Regarding your appeal status, this number never changes now that the official appeal period over 634. What I would like to point out to you is that when this process started, the 15 billion, we were north of 463 billion. This is where you stand at still value in dispute as of today of 1.94%. This chart here gives you a relative idea as to the value in dispute against the entire digest. You add these two figures together, you come back to the digest figure. Because of that, we track. That's your movement in residential, in commercial. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. That is residential. In which we've only lost 7.88%. Excuse me, 7.23%. That was the overall I just showed you. And commercial is 7.94%. I'll repeat that, Mr. Chairman. Overall, we've only lost 7.88% during the appeal issues. Only 7.23% lost in residential and only 7.94% lost in commercial. For budgetary purposes, we always inform finance. We give them the value in dispute at the close of the appeal filing period and have them to make adjustments of a loss up to 15%. So we're in good shape with that. That's the overall picture of what residential value and dispute issues and commercial, how they look graphically. Nancy made a commentary earlier that we have shifted from neighborhood revals to permit work. And you can see it structured in the overall as well as in the QC and impacts, where over the last few weeks, we've been focusing on permits to get your 100% discovery for 2021 and then get back to the discovery projects. On the commercial side, at one point there was as much as 88% complete, but they've been pulled over to finish up with appeal work. We still have some more settlement conferences and Board of Equalization cases scheduled. I believe we have hearing settlement conferences on Thursday this week. So added permitting with this appeal fight period going on. But as you can see, as of last week, we started to get people back out on some permit work, even though we spent a lot of time on delayed appeals. Regarding the residential guys, this gives you an idea. Last year we had 190 identified. Only 130 was achieved with the hit of COVID. 60 of them were not able to get to. Since that time, we made recovery on what was not done in 2020 to capture those. When you look at what is still pending in Project Central, which is final land adjustment recommendations, we would move to 182 or 95%. Those 8 are going to require a lot more time-consuming details for us to try to figure out better solutions for them. So we moved on. In 2021, this gives you an idea of what's going on in the development. That's kind of an interesting solution, but because they work so many different phases, this measurement gives you a better idea of what's going on in residential. Of the 7 zones that's going to be involved in this process, what percentage of them are allocated to this process, what percent is complete. Right now, they're sitting at 40% complete on neighborhood work. That is a listing of the classes as they were pulled from your CAMEL system for the letters that you saw of notation that went out. We received calls from one of the commissioners, and we provided them with some information that we encouraged them to share with other folks. We let them know that we really don't send notices out in the residential area. It's for a safety precaution reason, because all information is not necessarily obtained from good citizens. We have sent you out updates regarding caveat, as well as the virtual scheduling of caveat that is going to start taking place. Ms. Coleman has already made reservations for all of us in the virtual. Mr. Chairman, if any board members desire that they want to come to the office, we can accommodate persons in different conference rooms for COVID safety reasons, if they desire to gather here, or obviously they can control that from their own PCs at their own home. The other matters are all tied to the DOR certification review process that you addressed early on in in the meeting, Mr. Chairman, and I'm pleased to say after your actions, not only have we transmitted digitally the reference, we've also delivered the hard copy documents with all the justifications up to HR. They have that. That file is probably close to 2 inches thick versus that spreadsheet that just summarizes the impact of those adjustments to board members. I think I went through it as fast as I could, Mr. Chairman.
Good job.
And that's all we have for you today, and certainly we'll be more than glad to address any questions that anybody on the board may have.
Any questions? Did we adopt staff recommendations and I forgot, or I forgot and we didn't?
We did not.
Not.
I move we accept staff recommendations.
Second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes nay. Ayes have it. Very good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to ask Mr. Ross, you may or may not know this, but in the instructions we had for the upcoming class, it said we had to register for Zoom again. We don't need to do that again, do we, since we got Zoom already?
Yeah, if you already have Zoom on your system, you don't have to set up for it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Right.
That is an excellent question.
All right. Yeah, I suspect there are a lot of people out there still haven't yet to use Zoom, but again, we're going to monitor it real close, Mr. Middleton. I know we're closing in on the 21st, I think, of December is when they want to do this that morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so we never know when we may get a last minute hit, but we'll make sure that we keep the board well abreast of what it takes to have you in that virtual training class.
Thank you, sir.
And that's again Monday, December the 21st, from 9 to 1 o'clock.
Anything else? Any other matters?
Yes, I have one other question.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, since this is our last meeting for the year, did the board ever decide to do anything for the staff for the digest submission, or are we just not going to do anything due to COVID?
May I respond, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate that sentiment, Mr. Middleton. Miss Barney has been gracious enough to provide cupcakes, treats to all the staff members as an act of her personal choice. Our preference is to marginalize gatherings. In spite of us having everybody here sometimes, we do a decent job of keeping everybody well separated. The staff has even decided that we're going to delay our annual holiday celebration. It's just a new time. We're taking every precaution to marginalize the impact of COVID. Obviously, we've had a 10-day quarantine to hit us. We've had individuals along the way, and we've done everything we can to avoid an outright shutdown. We were fortunate that we had 5 or 6 people out when the quarantine matter came down that were able to come in and keep the office functional for an entire week. I really do appreciate the thought of the board for the staff, but the staff itself, that this is just a difficult time. On that note, I do wish each of the board members a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for an exciting new year that we just had. And in spite of COVID, we've done our duty. The board has done its duty, and we really appreciate that support. Hopefully we can double celebrate next year and make up for it, sir.
All right, we just didn't want them to feel like we neglected them. But
no, they don't feel that way.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Middleton.
that's all I have.
Okay.
If I can, Mr. Chairman, if
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Middleton wants to drop $1,000 in 38 envelopes and leave it at the door with Merry Christmas on it, I think they would love it to death.
As soon as I hit the lotto, I'll take it.
Thank you, sir.
Any other matters? Well, allow me again, on all of our behalf, to thank Augusta IT Department and Keldridge to, making this possible that we can meet in our offices and in our homes and get the business of the assessor's office done. Again, it's not normal times, and we're running with a high degree of professionalism in these not normal times. Everybody stay social distance and wear your masks. And the same as our chief, I'm wishing all of you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I hope Santa Claus brings you everything you want.
Ditto.
Goodbye, everyone.
All
Same
right,
to
well,
you.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
Mr. Mills,
Happy holidays.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that this meeting is adjourned.
anybody want to second Mr. Mills' motion?
Good.
Second.
All right, we got a second. There is no discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposes nay. No nays. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Same to you. Thank you.